Guru संसारहारिणे भक्तकाये कदेहाय नमस्ते चित्सदात्मने ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै शान्ति 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 ॐ नमो गुरुभ्यो गुरुपादुकाभ्यो नमः परेभ्यः परपादुकाभ्याम् आचार्य सिद्धेश वरपादुकाभ्यो नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्याम् ऐङ्कार ह्रीङ्काररहस्ययुक्ता श्रीङ्कार गुरार्थमहाविभूत्याम् ओङ्कार मर्म प्रतिपारिणीभ्याम् नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्याम् होत्राग्निहोत्राग्निहविषहोतृ हौमारि सर्वा कृतिभासमानम् यद्ब्रह्मतद्भो रविचारिणीभ्याम् नामारि सर्प व्रजगारुदाभ्याम् विवेकवैराग्यनिरिप्रदाभ्याम् घोरप्रदाभ्याम् कृतमोक्षदाभ्याम् नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्याम् नौकायिताभ्याम् स्थिरभक्तिदाभ्याम् चार्यादिसंशो शर्वरवभ्याम् नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्याम् ॐ शान्ति 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 ॐ अस्य श्री गुरुगीतास्तोत्रमन्त्रस्य भगवान् सदा शिवऋषि नानाविधानि छन्दांसि श्री गुरु परमात्मा देवता हम बीजं सशक्तिक्रम किलकं श्री गुरु प्रसार सिद्ध्यर्थे जपे विनियोगा आता ध्यानम् हम सव्यं परिवृत पात्र कमले दिव्यजगत्कारणे विश्वकीर्णमने कदे अनिलये स्वच्छन्दममेचया तद्योतं परशम्भवं तु चरणं दीपाङ्कुरग्राहिणां प्रत्यक्षाक्षरविग्रहं गुरुपरं ध्याये विभुं शाश्वताम् मम चतुर्विधा वियोगा सुता उवाच कैलासशिखरे रम्ये भक्तिसन्धाननायकां प्रणम्य पार्वती भक्त्या शङ्करं पाय पृच्छति श्रीदेवी उवाच ॐ नमो देवदेवेश पर जगद्गुरो देहि मे तेन मार्गेण वो स्वामी देहि ब्रह्मं मयो भवे त्वां कृपां कुरु मे स्वामी नमामि चरणौ तव ईश्वर उवाच मम रूपासि देवी त्वं त्वप्रीत्यर्थं वदाम्यहं लोकोपकारकः प्रश्नो न केनापि कृतः पुरा दुर्लभं त्रिषु लोकेषु तत्तुरुष्व वदामि वेदशास्त्रपुराणानि इतिहासादिकानि च मन्त्रयन्त्राणि विद्याश्च स्मृतिरुचातनारिकाम् शैवशाक्तगमादीनि अन्यानि विविधानि च अपभ्रंशकराणि जीवनं भ्रान्तते च साम् यज्ञो व्रतं तपोदानं जपस्तीर्थं च चैव च गुरुतत्त्वमविज्ञाय मुरास्ते चरते जना गुरुबुद्ध्या मनोनान्यत् न संशयः तल्लवर्तं प्रयत्नस्तु कर्तव्यो हि मनीषिभिः गुरुविद्या जगन्माया देहे च ज्ञानसम्भवा उदयो या प्रकाशेन गुरुशब्देन कथ्यते भवेद्यस्मात् चक्रपर्तं वदामि चेत् गुरुपारं भुजं स्मृत्वा जलं शिरसि धारये सर्वतीर्थवगास्य सम्प्राप्नोति फलं नरः शोषणं पापपङ्कस्य दीपनं ज्ञानतेजसां गुरुपारोरकं सम्यक् संसारानवतारकम् अज्ञानमूलानां जन्मकर्मनिवारणं ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यर्थं गुरुपारोरकं पिबेत् गुरुपारोरकं पीत्वा गुरुरुचिष्टभोजनं गुरुमूर्ते सराध्यानं गुरुमन्त्रं सदा जपेत् काशीक्षेत्रं तनिवासो जानवी चरणोरकं गुरुविश्वेश्वर साक्षात् तारकं ब्रह्मनिश्चितं गुरुपारोरकं यातु गायसोक्षयो वचः तीर्थराजा प्रयागश्च गुरुमूर्ते नमो नमः गुरुमूर्तिं स्मरे नित्यं गुरुनामासराजपे गुरुरञ्जं प्रकुर्वीत गुरुरन्यान् भावये गुरुवाक्राशितं रमा प्राप्यते ताप्रसादतः गुरुर्यानं सदा कुर्यात् तुलस्वी स्वपतिर्यता स्वाश्रमं च स्वजन्तीं च सर्कीर्तिपुष्टिवर्धनम् एतत् सर्वं परित्याज्य गुरुरन्यान् भावये अनन्यश्चिन्तयन्तो मां सुलभं परमं पदं तस्मात् सर्वप्रयत्नेन गुरुराराधनं कुरु त्रैलोके स्फुकवक्तारो देवद्यासुरपानगा गुरुवक्त्राश्रिता विद्या गुरुभक्त्या च लभ्यते दुःखरस्वन्धकारश्च मृक्खरस्तेज उच्यते अज्ञानग्रासकं ब्रह्म गुरुरेव न संशया दुःखरप्रथमो वर्णो मायदि गुणभासका दुःखरो द्वितीयो ब्रह्म मायभ्रान्ति विनाशना प्रपूज्यते ध्रुवं तेषां च सर्वेषां नास्ति तद्वं गुरोपरम् आसनं शयनं वस्त्रं भूषणं वा नारिकाम् साधकेन प्रदातव्यं गुरुसन्तोषकारकं गुरुराराधनं कार्यं स्वजीवित्वं निवेदये कर्मणा मनसा वाचा नित्यमाराधयेत् गुरुं दीर्घदण्डं नमस्कृत्य निर्लजो गुरुसानिरो शरीरमिन्द्रियं प्राणान् सद्गुरुभ्यो निवेदये आत्मदारारिकं सर्वं सद्गुरुभ्यो निवेदये विमिकितभस्मविष्टा दुर्गन्धिमालमूत्रकं श्लेष्मरक्तं त्वचामंसां पञ्चयेन वरानने संसारवृक्षमारुदा नारकर्णवे येन चैव धृता सर्वे तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुविष्णुर् गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः एतवे जगतामेव संसारानावसेतवे प्रभवे सर्वविर्याणां शम्भवे गुरवे नमः अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानजनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः त्वं पिता त्वं च मे माता त्वं बन्धुस्त्वं च रेवता संसारप्रतिभोरार्तां तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यत्सत्येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः तस्य स्थित्या सत्यमिदं यावती बाणरूपता प्रियं पुत्रार्या प्रीत्या तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः येन चेतायते हिदं शीतं चेतायते नयं जाग्रत्स्वप्नसुषुप्त्यादि तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यस्य ज्ञानानिरं विश्वं न दृशं भिन्न भेदता तदेकरूपरूपाय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यस्य मतं तस्य मतं मातं यस्य न वेदसा अनन्यभावभावाय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यस्य कारणरूपस्य कार्यरूपेण भात्या कार्यकारणरूपाय तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नानारूपमिदं सर्वं न केनाप्यस्ति भिन्नता कार्यकारणता चैव तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः यदङ्घ्रिकमलद्वन्द्वं द्वन्द्वतपानिवारकं तारकं सर्वरापभ्य श्रीगुरुं प्रणमम्यहम् विवेकृते गुरुश्चात्तः गुरुकृते शिवो नहि तस्मात् सर्वप्रयत्नेन श्रीगुरुं शरणं व्रजे वन्दे गुरुपरद्वन्द्वं ब्रह्मणश्चित्तगोचरं श्वेतरक्तप्रभाविनां शिवशक्त्यमखं परम् दुःखरं च गुणातीतं रुक्खरं रूपवर्जितं गुणातीतस्वरूपं च यो दद्यात् स गुरुस्मृता अत्रिनेत्र सर्वसाक्षी Achaturbaurachita Achaturvanarobe Yadanugrato Jantu Chitra Samsara Mukti Bhak Shri Guru Paramam Rupam Viveka Chakshushomutam Mandavagyana Pashyanti Anda Suryodayam Yata Srinatha Charana Dvamvam Yasyam Dishi Virajate Tasye Dishe Namaskuryat Bhaktya Pratidinam Priye Tasye Dishe Satatam Anjalesha Arye Lakshipyate Mukarito Marupir Budesha Jagarti Yatra Bhagavan Guru Chakravarti Vishwaraya Pranakar Nitya Sakshi Srinatari Guru Trayam Ganapatim Hitatrayam Veravam Siddhogam Batukatrayam Varayugam Duti Kramam Mandalam Virandra Shatusushta Sashti Navakam Niravali Panchakam Sri Mamalini Mantra Raja Saitam Vande Guru Mandalam Abhyaste Sakale Sudirga Manile Yari Prare Dushkare Pranayama Shateraneka Karane Dukarmake Durjaye Yasmina Vyadite Vinashati Bali Vayu Swayam Takshanan Praptum Tatsajam Swabhava Manisham Devadvamekam Gurum Swadeshika Sheva Sharira Chitanam Bhavedanatasya Shivasya Chintanam Swadeshika Sheva Chanama Kirtanam Bhavedanatasya Shivasya Kirtanam Yapararenu Kanika Kapi Samsara Varite Setu Bandayate Natam Deshikam Tam Upasmahe Yasmadhanuglam Lava Maharadhyana Mutsaje Tasme Shire Shikendraya Namashta Bishta Siddhaye Parabjam Sarva Samsara Bhavana Lavinashakam Brahmarandre Sitamboja Madhyasam Chandra Mandale Akatari Tire Kapje Sahasradala Mandale Amsa Pashva Trikonecha Smaritan Madhyagam Guru Sakala Bhuvana Shushti Kalpita Shesha Pushti Nikila Nigama Drushti Samparam Vyartha Drushti Avaguna Parimarshtis Taparartika Drushtir Bhavaguna Parameshtir Moksha Margeka Drushtir Sakala Bhuvana Ranga Sapana Sambhayasti Sakaruna Rasa Vrishtis Tadvamala Samasti Sakala Samaya Shushti Sachirananda Drishtir Nivasatu Mayi Nityan Shri Guru Divya Drishti Agni Shuddha Samam Chatu Dvala Parichakariya Mantra Raja Mimam Manye Arnisham Patam Mrityucha Tare Jati Tane Jati Tadgure Tatsamipake Tarantarasya Sarvasya Taru Sarvasya Bhayata Ajoham Ajaroham Cha Anadhinidana Swayam Avikara Shirananda Aniyanmato Mahan Apurvanam Param Nityam Swayam Jyotiramayam Virajam Paramakasham Dhuvamanandam Avyayam Shruti Pratyakshametiya Manumanashchatushtayam Yasya Chabmata Poveda Deshikam Shasarasmare Mananamya Bhavam Karyam Tavadami Mamate Sarutvam Chamaya Drushvam Vaiti Stati Sampratam Akandamandalakaram Yaptam Yena Characharam Taparam Darshitam Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Sarvashruti Shiroratna Virajita Parambuja Verantambuja Suryoyas Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Chaitanyam Shashvatam Shantam Vyomatitam Niranjanam Narabindu Kalatitam Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Savaram Jagamam Chaiva Tata Chaiva Characharam Yaptam Yena Jagat Sarvam Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Yana Samarudas Tadvamala Vibhushita Bhukti Mukti Pradatayas Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Sarva Karma Vidahine Swamajnana Prabhavena Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Nagurorarikam Tadvam Nagurorarikam Tapa Tadvam Yana Param Nasti Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Manata Shri Jagannatho Madguru Shri Jagadguru Mama Ma Sarva Bhutatma Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Yana Moolam Guru Murti Puja Moolam Guru Param Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa Guru Radhira Narishta Guru Param Devatam Guru Parataram Nasti Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Sapta Sagara Padayanta Tirtha Snararikam Guru Rangri Payo Bindu Sasam Shrena Durlabam Arurushte Guru Strata Guru Rushrena Kashtana Tasmat Sarva Prayanena Shri Gurum Sharanam Raje Guru Eva Jagat Sarvam Brahma Vishnu Shiva Makam Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmat Sampujayet Gurum Jnana Vijnana Saitam Labhyate Guru Bhaktita Guru Parataram Nasti Deyo So Guru Margibhi Yasmat Parataram Nasti Neti Neti Diveshruti Manasa Vacha Sacheva Nityamaradaet Gurum Guru Kripa Prasadena Brahma Vishnu Sarashiva Samartha Prabhavadocha Kevalam Guru Sevaya Devaki Naragandharva Pitaro Yaksha Charana Munayopi na jananti Guru Shushushane Vidim Mahankara Garvena Tapavedya Balanvita संसारा कुहरावर्ते गतयन्त्रे यथा गता नामुकदेव गन्धर्व पितरो यक्ष किन्नरा ऋषय सर्वसिद्धाश्च गुरुसेवा परमुखा ज्ञानं शृणु महादेवी सर्वानन्दप्रदायकं सर्वसौख्यकरं नित्यं भुक्तिमुक्तिविदायकम् श्रीमत्परब्रह्म गुरुं स्मरामि श्रीमत्परब्रह्म गुरुं वरामि श्रीमत्परब्रह्म गुरुं नमामि श्रीमत्परब्रह्म गुरुं भजामि ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तद्वमस्यारिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदि साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि नित्यं शुद्धं निराभासं निराकारं निरञ्जनं गुरुब्रह्मणमम्यम् उदम्बुजे कर्णिकामर्यसंस्थे सिंहासने संस्थित्य दिव्यमूर्तिं ध्यायेत् गुरुं चन्द्रकलाप्रकाशं श्रीपुस्तकभीष्टवरं धराणां श्वेताम्बरं श्वेतविलेपपुष्पं मुक्ताविभूषमुदितं द्विनेत्रं वामाङ्कपित्यशक्तिं मन्दस्मितं सान्द्रकृपानिरानाम् आनन्दमानन्दकरं प्रसन्नं ज्ञानस्वरूपं निचबोधयुक्तं योगीन्द्रमिद्यं भवरोगवैद्यं श्रीमद्गुरुं नित्यमहं नमामि यस्मिन् शुचितिद्वंसा निग्रहानुग्रामकं कृन्त्यं पञ्चवीरं शाश्वतं भासते तं नमाम्यहम् प्रातःशिरशिशुक्लाब्जे द्विनेत्रं द्विभुजं गुरुं वरभयायुतं शान्तं स्मरेतं नाम पूर्वकम् न गुरोररिकं न गुरोररिकं न गुरोररिकं न गुरोररिकं शिवशासनता 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 चिरमेव शिवं चिरमेव शिवं चिरमेव शिवं चिरमेवान्तफलमप्नोति गुरुगीता जपेन च सर्वपापप्रशमनं सर्वदारिद्र्यनाशनं कालमृत्युभयहरं सर्वसङ्कटनाशनं यक्षरक्षाशभूतानां चोरव्याघ्रभयापहम् महाव्यारिहरं सर्वं विभूतिसिरिदं भवेत् आतवमोहनं वशं स्वयमेव जपे सदा काष्ठस्थाने च दारिद्र्यं पाशने रोगसम्भवं मेरिण्यं दुःखमप्नोति कष्टे भवति निष्फलम् कृष्णजिने ज्ञानसिद्धिर्मोक्षश्रेयाग्रचर्मणि कुशस्थाने ज्ञानसिद्धि सर्वसिरिष्टुकम्बले शिवा दुर्वया देवी आसने शुभ्रकम्बले उपविश्य ततो देवी तपेदिक्राकमानसा येयं शुक्लं च शन्यर्थं वाशिरक्तासनं प्रिये अविचारे कृष्णवर्णं पीतवर्णं धनागमे उत्तरे शान्तिकामास्तु पश्ये पूर्वामुखो जपे दक्षिणे मरणं प्रोक्तं पश्चिमे चादनागमात् मोहनं सर्वभूतानां बन्धमोक्षाकरं भवेत् देवराजापि अकारं सर्वलोकवशं भवेत् सर्वेषां स्तम्भनकारं गुणनं च विवर्धनं दुष्कर्मनाशनं चैव सुकर्मा सिद्धिं भवेत् आसीदं साधये कार्यं नवग्रहभयापहं दुःस्वप्ननाशनं चैव सुस्वप्नफलदायकम् सर्वशान्तिकरं नित्यं हतवद्यासपुत्रम् अवेदव्यं करं श्रीणां सौभाग्यदायकं सदा आयुरारोग्यमेश्वर्य पुत्रपौत्राववर्धनम् अकामता श्रीविरवा तपामोक्षमवाप्नुयात् अवेदाव्यं सकामात् लाभते चान्यजन्मनि सर्वदुःखं भयं विघ्नं नाशये चापहारकम् सर्वबाधाप्रशमनं धर्मता काममोक्षदं यं यं चिन्तयते कामं तं तं प्राप्नोति निश्चितम् कामितस्य कामधेनु कल्पना कल्पपारपा चिन्तामणिश्चिन्तितस्य सर्वमङ्गलकारकम् मोक्षहेतुर्जपे नित्यं मोक्षश्रियामवाप्नुयात् भोगकामो जपेद्यो वे तस्य कामफलप्रदम् जपे चाश्चस्तसोरश्च गणपत्यश्च वैष्णवा सेवाश्च शरीरं देवी सत्यं सत्यं न संशया आतकाम्य जपे स्थानं कथयामि वरानने सागरे वा सरितीरे अतवारि हरालये शक्तिदेवालये गोष्ठे सर्वदेवालये शिवे वचे ददात्रिमूले वा मठे वृन्दावने तथा पवित्रेणे निर्मले स्थाने नित्यानुष्ठानचोऽपि वा निर्विरोणे नमोनेन जपामि तं समाचरे श्मशाने वायभूमौ च घण्टमूलाञ्चिके तथा सिद्ध्यन्ति दौतरे मूले चित्तवृक्षाससानिरो गुरुपुत्र वरमूर्खास् तस्य सिद्ध्यन्ति नान्यथा शुभकर्माणि सर्वाणि दीक्षाव्रता तपंसि च संसारमालनाशार्थं भावपाशानिवृत्तये गुरुगीताम्बसि स्नानं तद्वाद्या कुरुते गुरुसाक्षात् सदा स ब्रह्मवित्समा तस्य स्थानानि सर्वाणि पवित्राणि न संशया सर्वशुद्ध पवित्रोऽसौ स्वभवद्यत्र तिष्ठति तत्र देवागणा सर्वे क्षेत्रेऽपि ते वसन्ति आसनस्थशयानो वा दंशशिस्थंवरानपि अश्वरुद्धो गजारुदा सुप्तो वा जागृतोऽपि वा शुचिस्मं सहस्रध्याने गुरुगीता जपेन च तस्य दर्शनमात्रेण पुनर्जन्म विद्यते समुद्रे च यथा तोयं क्षीरे क्षीरं virte gutam Vinde kumbe yatakashas Tatatma paramatmani Tate dvadyani jivatma Parama mani liyate Aikyena ramate jnani Yatra tatra divanisham Evam vido mahamuktaha sarvara vartate buddha Tasya sarva prayanena bhava bhaktin karoti ya Sarva sande arahito mukto bhavati parvati Bhukti mukti dvayam tasya Jivagrecha saraswati Anena pranina sarve Guru Gita japena tu Sarva siddhim dharmam satyam ayoditam Guru Gita samam nasti Satyam satyam varanane Eko deva eka dharma Eka nishtha param chapa Guru parataram nanya Nasi tadvam guru param Mata danya pita danyo Danyo vachakulam chata Danya cha vasura devi Guru bhakti sadurlabha Shariram indriyam pranash Charta swajana bandava Mata pita kulam devi Gurevana samshaya Akalpaja manakotya Japavrata tapakriya Tat sarvam safalam devi Guru santosha Vidyatapo baleneva Mandavagyashtayen nara Guru sevam na kurvanti Satyam satyam varanane Pitra kinnara Siddhacharana yakshasha Anepi munayo jana Guru bhava param tirtam Anya tirtam nirartakam Sarva tirta shayo devi Parangusham chavartate Japena jayamannoti Chananta phalamapniyat Hina karma dyajam sarvam Sanani charamani cha Japam hina sanam kurvan Hina karma phalapradam Guru gitam prayaneva Sangrame rupasankate Vagnote marane muktirayakam Sarva karma cha sarvatra Guru putrasya siddhyati Iram nasya vacham Kavagre kachitam maya Sugopyam cha prayanena Mamam tvam cha priyatviti Swami mukya ganeshadi Vishnavariram cha parvati Manasapena vaktavyam Satyam satyam vadamyam Ativa pagvachitaya Shraddha bhakti uthaya cha Pravaktavyam iram devi Mama masi sada priye Abhakte vanchake durte Pakane nastike nare Manasapena vaktavya Guru Gita karachana Sarasagara samudra neka mantram Pramadi deva muni pujita siddha mantram Daridra dukkha bhava roga vinasha mantram Vande Mahabhayaram Guru Raja mantram Iti Shri Skanda Purane Uttarakande Ishvara Parvati Samvade Guru Gita Samapta Shri Gurudev Charanat Namastu. Nityanandaya Gurave Shiksha Sansara Harine Bhaktakaya Kadehaya Namaste Chitsadatmane Nirvasanam Nirakamsham Savadosha Vivarjitam Niralambam Nirantangam Nityam Nirmamam Nirahangaram Samalostashvakanshanam Samadukha Sukhamvidiram Avarutam Namamyam Avinashiram Amaram Ekavignaya Tatvata Vitaraga Bhayakruram Nityanandam Namamyam Naham Deho Name Deho Jivanamamichi Evam Vignaya Sandushtam Samasta Kalpana Mantram Abhamukta Sanatanam Iti Vignaya Sandruptam Nityanandam Namamyam Kamasankalpa Varjitam Eyopare Hiram Jam Avarutam Namamyam Avavineva Yo Yogi Sukambhogam Navanchati Yadrushtalabha Santushtam Nityanandam Namamyam Nevaninda Prashansabhyam Yasya Vikriyate Mana Manam Avarutam Namamyam Nityam Jagravasayam Swadnavadyo Vatishtrate Nishchintam Chinmayatmanam Nityanandam Namamyam Dvesham Nasti Priyam Nasti Nasti Asya Shubha Shubham Viradhyana Vinamdam Avadutam Namamyam Jaram Pashati No Yastu Jagapashanti Chinmayam Nitya Yuktam Gunachitam Nityanandam Namamyam Yohidharnam Bhavate Bhuvanatrayam Pavanam Jagamam Tirtam Avadutam Namamyam Sarva Pujyam Sarapurnam Akandananda Vigram Swaprakasham Chiranandam Nityanandam Namamyam Nishkalam Nishkriyam Shantam Nirmalam Paramamritam Ganesha Purivasinam Avadutam Namamyam Tapomurtim Premapurnam Surarshanam Jnanapurnam Kripamurtim Nityanandam Namamyam Durjana Sajjano Bhuyat Sajjana Shanti Mapnuyat Shanto Mocheta Bandebhyo Mukta Shanyan Vimochaye Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Yayena Marge Namayi Maisha Gobramanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parajanya Prithvi Shashasalini Deshoyam Shobharaito Brahmana Santu Nirbhaya Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् तरातुर्गानि सर्वभद्राणि पश्यतु सर्वकामानवन्दतु सर्वसर्वत्र स्वस्ति मात्रौ च पितॄणास्तु स्वस्ति गोभ्यो जगते पुरुषेभ्यः विश्वं सुभूतं सुविरात्रं नोऽस्तु योगे वदृशे वसूर्यम् ॐ शान्तिः आरति करुं सदा गुरु के करुं सदा गुरु के प्यारे गुरु वर की आरती करुं गुरु वर की आरती करुं सदा गुरु के करुं सदा गुरु के प्यारे गुरु वर की आरती करुं गुरु वर की जय गुरुदेव अमला विनाशी ज्ञान रूप हरखे वासी जय गुरुदेव अमला विनाशी ज्ञान रूप हरखे वासी भाग आशा जैसे किरणे दिनकर के आरती करुं सदा गुरु के करुं सदा गुरु के प्यारे गुरु हर की आरती करुं गुरु वर जाला खाबस सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai.
Good morning. Welcome everybody on Sunday for Satsang, our favorite day and the highlight of my week, and I hope everybody else's week, here and everywhere in the world where you are. Yesterday we had a wonderful day. We had the intensive, and the experience, I will call it an event. The word talk just doesn't do it justice. It was a wonderful trip. It was a wonderful, it ferries us to the depths and the heights of the experience of Shiva, of Satchit Ananda. Everybody who will be getting their links will agree with me, no doubt. So it was deep and it was high. And I was thinking that like river deep, mountain high, really. It gets stronger and stronger in every way, and it gets deeper and deeper, let me say, that it gets higher, river deep, mountain high. That poem from the 1966 song of the same name. Now the program will continue with Ashit Dave's interview of Gurudev. Ashit first met Baba Muktananda as a 3-year-old when his parents first started visiting Ganesh Puri, and has continued his association with this path and Gurudev for over 50 years now. He currently resides in Delaware with his family, visiting, well then, frequently, but he says not frequently enough. He recently had a chance to meet Gurudev and ask a few questions from the world, from people who have been sending his questions or their questions, and he has this opportunity, so he's the interviewer today. We're going to watch this video. It's about 50 minutes or a little more, and after that, Kirtan. So let us enjoy the video and the interview.
So I'm taking this opportunity to ask who has a guru and receives Shaktipat in his life, in his or her life, and after he or she leaves the body, how is the process of evolution of his or her spirit towards liberation?
Well, first of all, in the Indian tradition, we believe in reincarnation. So each one of us has to believe in reincarnation. So when we realize that I will be reincarnated until I reach liberation, so the cycle will go on. And the guru is Shakti or energy. So a guru lives, or a person lives as the guru, then he or she dies or leaves the body. Then that Guru Shakti in the next lifetime, meaning the disciple's lifetime, is again there in that form or in a form. And then depending on your lineage, on your tradition, on your connection, you are reborn, and so is somebody else with the Shakti of that lineage or tradition. So therefore, in the Indian tradition, we say Narayana Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmad Guru Paryantam Vande Guru Param. Asmad Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. That from Narayana, from the Lord himself, this lineage starts. And in our tradition, we have Shankaracharya in the middle, who reorganized and redid everything. And then till whoever is the current Guru or Acharya, we offer salutations to that lineage. So truthfully, as a disciple, I feel I have nothing to worry, that my job is to do my sadhana, is to do my practice, is to do my japa, is to do my study, and make sure that I'm on the path. So oftentimes, because we are here in the United States, I tell people, just stay on the freeway. Every time you take an exit, you get lost in that local town. and then you have to remember to get back onto the freeway. So it's the same in life. We're on the freeway, and every time I get off the freeway, meaning the path of sadhana, sometimes lifetimes may be lost in that one town, whatever the town is, whether it is anger, whether it is delusion, whether it is frustration, whether it is sense pleasures, whatever, So that's how I look at it. So what is my job? Thanks to my parents, I met Baba Muktananda, and Baba Muktananda initiated me and put me on this path. Now it's been almost 39 years that he is not in the form, but I feel that energy is still there, is still present. Not only that, I find sometimes that there are other people who will come and say something. So in that moment, if I'm really connected to that Shakti of the Guru, I will realize the Guru has come in this form and given me an instruction. It can be anybody. And that person may not even know, will not even remember when you tell them that next year, that last year you told me this. And they might go, I told you this? Because it's like when I go to a temple and the priest either gives me some particular prasad or invites me for something. And then I think, why is the priest doing this to me? The priest doesn't even know me. So then I think, okay, it is that deity, whoever the deity is, through the priest giving me the information, come to this temple at this time. Or telling the priest, give this individual this prasad. So it is actually my connection to the Shakti of the deity. But the deity in that murti form, a statue form, can't move. But the deity wants to give me something. So I think it's the same. The Guru Shakti is always there. Like the sun is always there, the wind is always there. I don't sometimes see the sun because there's clouds. The wind sometimes I can't feel or hear because it's not windy. But doesn't mean that the sun is not there, the wind is not there. So the Shakti is always there. So what is my duty? Do my job. Do my sadhana. So Swadhyaya. So I tell people a daily schedule, as we have in the ashram, is what you must follow in life. And once you follow that in life, the Guru is there. So you'll be taken care of.
So no, that's interesting. In the what you just said about the murti and the murti or the deity working through the priest. The second question is kind of along this similar line. So the second question that we have is, how can we discern if it is the self or it is the ego when you feel some information coming from the inner self?
In my life, this is the way I look at it, that I have a question. And then as soon as I have that question, there is an answer immediately. Now, because we are doubting individuals, we think, let me ask Ashit, let me ask Rupal, let me ask this one, let me ask that one, let me ask Dipanshu, let me get 10 opinions. So now I have my answer from the self, which is the very first answer. And I tell people, no matter how many times I ask the question, the self will give me the same answer. But then oftentimes it's not the answer I want, because the answer is no. And I want to do it. So I am thinking, you must do this. As soon as somebody says you must do this, I like them because it's the answer I want. But the self has told me no, or that it's not a good idea. So therefore, I tell people, listen to that first voice. As crazy as it may sound, as ridiculous as it may seem to us in our logical, rational, what are you looking for? I said, the property has to speak to me. And they said, the property will say, I am, whatever they thought in their imagination. I said, no, I will walk on that land, and within myself, I will feel that this is it. And that's exactly what happened. We came here on the day of Dasera in year 1998. Larry, our lawyer, took us up to the knoll, up on the hillside, and stopped his car, and just something about it. And anybody who's been here ever since loves the land. And so some people say, oh, it's because of the water. Some people say it's because of the forest. But I feel the land, the energy of the land, the earth here is something special. And same is about the ashram at Magot. People who come there, they just love it. So then whatever we do here just adds to the energy of what is. So when people buy homes, for example, I'm sure that everybody goes into different homes, apartments, whatever it is they're buying. And then something within you says, no, this is not right. But when you look at it as, on the outside, it's all perfect. All the things that you want, but inside, the voice is no. But then you think, is the voice right? Because, I have the view I want, I have the location I want, I have everything I want, I have the address I want, but the voice inside is telling me no. So I believe that you must listen to that voice, even if it's the most perfect whatever, and just trust. Ultimately, yourself is what it is. As much as we might say it is the self, its consciousness is whatever, but who is the self? I am the self. I am consciousness. So it is the ego which is trying to tell me otherwise, or the ego and my mind.
Ego is probably not allowing you to trust that.
I think if we find a few of us that are on the same place, connected to the same truth, we'll all agree that yes, you're right.
So, this is my own. So, based on what you just said, it is also probably where we are, as you started with the answer, we are trying to, we already have an answer in mind, not the answer to that question, to go in that direction. And that is why we, I think, do not allow that inner voice to come through.
Basically, I think the people who are successful in life listen to that voice. And those of us who are just going round and round and not getting anywhere, it's because we're always caught up in our own ego and our own mind games. So as soon as you step out of the ego, step out of the mind games, the self is speaking, just follow that self and you'll be there. Not easy. Because I always tell people that the voice of the self is soft and the voice of the ego and the mind is strong.
Loud.
And the voice of the self just speaks once. As I tell people, golden words are not repeated twice. So the self speaks once, says its thing. Om Shanti.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That helps. So the third question we have here is another long question. Which are the conditions we should attain as human beings? Probably this will help the previous question too. Which is the sadhana we should do? I mean, having that real purpose in our life, being conscious and taking real profit of the life as a means to transcend, to have the possibility to finish with the wheel of karma and to eliminate in this life or the following life. In which life?
I think to be a good human should be the first quality. And especially today in 2021, by the time everybody sees this, it'll be 2022. I think it is a needed quality of our society. I think for various reasons, I feel that the world is filled with fear. And everything is being driven from that fear, whether it's politics, whether it's business, whether it's us in the normal human society. All of us are sort of, wondering what is going to happen. Climate change is another big thing. Food is another big thing. So the basics, as in India we say, roti, kapda, makan. Food, clothing, and a place to live. This is basically what a human person needs. And Baba Muktananda would say, my stomach is actually only this big as my closed fist. So how much does one really need? But today, greed has driven society. And so that greed is making us think more and more and more. So the very first thing that I would say as a human being, as a sadhana, is to develop my discrimination, viveka. So viveka, not just in truth and untruth and all. Everybody, I think the closets are full or cupboards are full, all spaces are full. We have so many sofas. And like in the ashram, I always say, for a few big programs that we have in the year, we don't need a huge hall. Somehow we can manage, or we can put a tent, and get away with it. But otherwise, for those 4 or 5 times that we need, for the other 360, the first thing. And what Viveka leads to then is Vairagya, because you now have understood. And Vairagya, I tell people, doesn't mean going to the forest. Because everybody thinks Vairagya means become like Avadut Bhagavad Nityanand. I leave everything, no clothes, just a loincloth and living on nothing. No. I think, okay, if you are to be like Bhagavad Nityanand, so be it. We will, offer that to you. But you can live like that in the normal society. Live simply. Instead of having 1,000, have 100. Instead of having 100, have 10. So, but that choice and decision has to be yours. And you have to realize that it's okay. People might laugh at you that you wore the same shirt to the last party or the last meeting, but it's cleaned, it's washed, it's fresh. I didn't wear it like I wore it last week and I wore it again. No, I cleaned it again. So I don't need, I had heard long time back, I don't know how true it is, that some rich man here in the US never wore the same shirt again. I was like, wow. Okay, God has given him wealth, he can. So well and good, but I only hope that he gave it away to somebody else who needed it or somebody else who could use it and didn't throw it away. And that's what I think, as a human doing sadhana, I think the awareness, the sensitivity, you're not, in Baba Muktana's words, don't be jad, don't be dense, be conscious, be conscious of what's going around. So I tell people, do your japa, do your meditation, do your daily chanting, do all of that. But then take that sensitivity and awareness into into the daily life. And that's when I think that you're really profiting or benefiting from that, So not only that, I think if I am the sadhaka, the seeker, I should make sure that my family close, then my friends close, then the colleagues I work with, that they also benefit. They may not meditate, they may not do japa, they may not do any of the things. They might just be normal human beings upon this planet Earth. But just because, like for example, I feel proud that I'm associated to Baba Muktananda.
Yeah.
He was a Siddha Guru. And just my association with him makes me feel good. So I think that's how it should be for each one of us. That because I am the disciple of Muktananda, somebody else should feel good that he's a friend or family or colleague of, like somebody told me the other day, somebody came to them and said, oh, so and so also believes in your Baba. They were happy that they know you who believes in Baba, and all of a sudden they know somebody else who believes in your Baba, in the same Baba. And that other person was just a normal person who happened to know 2 people who believe the same Baba. So it's good, I think, I remember once we were landed in Mumbai and going through immigration and customs. When I came to customs, the officer said, from where? So I always say Ganeshpuri. And he immediately folded his hands and he pranamed. He didn't know me. He didn't know who I was. He didn't know anything. But he's heard Ganeshpuri. And he's probably heard either of Bhagwan Nityanand or Baba Muktanand. And just whatever he had heard, he offered his salutations to me. And I knew that the salutations were actually to the Guru, to Bhagwan Nityanand, to Baba Muktanand, to Ganeshpuri. but I felt good. I felt like, wow, this is the lineage I belong to. So I think as a seeker, that's how I should uplift myself. What are the teachings? How should I and how can I live according to the teachings? How can I be conscious of those principles? Like when I travel, not so much now because of COVID, but before, and those who travel with me, I told them that we have been invited to this house not just to eat. We will get that. That's prasad, that's food. But they have invited us for good vibrations. So we will chant, we will sing some nice things. And each one of us has to make a conscious thought and effort that when I leave this space, I want to leave that uplifting vibration for that family in this house. And so I'm invited sometimes because people say when you come, the house gets clean, and whatever their personal reasons are, or the wife makes particular foods or the husband bound to happen. So I think that's what each one of us, no matter where we are in the world, I think Baba Muktananda, when I think of what he did with devotees and telling them to do satsangs in homes, I think this was really the uplifting factor. 350 homes around the world every Thursday or whatever day they choose had satsang. I think 90 minutes, 1.5 hours. People came, they chanted, they sang jota, they had prasad, they visited with each other, everybody went home. But every Thursday or whatever the day of the week they chose, they all came together. And at least that particular society, that particular area, for that particular day got uplifting vibrations. One of the wild ideas I had, just driving here in the US, you see a lot of 7-Elevens, you see a lot of convenience stores, gas stations. So my current thought is that we need more temples, we need more places of worship. Right. So when I'm walking, when I'm driving, when I'm whatever, that at least have a place I can go into for a few minutes and just sit and connect to divinity. And whose place it is, I think doesn't matter. And that not just, I don't know who will come up with the franchise of temples. I mean, I know I've seen it in airports that there are such spaces, but I think it would be nice. So all of us seekers and sadhakas around the world can create such open spaces, some delicious food, preferably vegetarian, so that we're not killing or no non-violence. And people can just come in, have a good conversation. You can have. I know that there are places around the world that I have heard of. I don't know if I've ever been. That are like a library, spiritual library, like a bookstore or something, where you can go and have a cup of tea. You can sit. All the people are like-minded. At least the vibration is like-minded, and you can sit for 30, 45 minutes. I recently saw here at the Shanti Mandir Walden parking lot a lady sitting on the floor of the parking lot and just relaxing. I don't know if she was having a lunch. I don't know if she was having a book with her, what she had, but I just saw her for over an hour, just sitting silent of a child who comes here to Roots and Wings, or who she was, I don't know. But then when I asked somebody, they said, well, sometimes people come and they say they like the peace. So they just come for the peace. And I had heard that from our salesperson whose garbage trucks come here. He said, sometimes I come with my car and drive around wherever I can and sit for a bit in the parking lot. So I feel peaceful. So I think all of us, our sadhana, our duty as a human being is to do this. Just like a lion and a tiger and a crocodile create terror, we get afraid when we see them because we think they will eat us. So in the same way, as a sadhaka, when somebody sees us, they should feel peace, even without them knowing that you are a sadhaka. And so I think that really is what we need to do. And don't worry about the cycle of karma. Be a good person. And the Dalai Lama also says that we need that in society. Good people, lovers, people who sing the name of God. So
Yeah, I hope we all remain focused on that on a continual basis. So without having to worry about the karma. And yeah, I mean, I think when you talked about peace, it just clicks. We have, the name is Shanti Mandir. And every time even I come here, Rupal comes here, we come here. It's, the first experience is that peace, doing nothing, just drive in, you step out of the car, and then all you feel is that quiet. So the next question is very interesting.
I think if we take the philosophy of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that karma I have to perform. So as long as I'm in the human body, I'm going to be doing something. Right? I'm going to see, I'm going to hear, I'm going to eat, I'm going to walk, I'm going to do all of the processes that the body does. Now, what the Gita says is that I cannot be attached to the fruit or the outcome. And so it's taken a long time to understand this. You have to come to a place within yourself where you accept life. Because we always want to change. I still want to change. I still want that we have better people and better this and better that. So my current mantra is, it's okay. I don't need to get myself worked up about anything else. It's okay. How we create new karma is because we have a reaction. And so a wonderful story that comes to mind, which I've shared often, is a Swami around Baba. He used to tell this story that, satsang has finished, and normally after satsang with Baba, we would go for dinner. And the doors that we went through were opening doors, and that had door closers, so they closed. So the door opens, the person goes out, but they don't hold the door open for us. And the door closes, my fingers get slammed in the doors. And then I think to myself, he always wanted to do this to me. He always wanted to slam the door in my face. So my fingers are hurting. My mind is all upset, disturbed. I go to the dining hall. I take the hot bowl of soup on my tray. My mind is thinking, and I don't see that the person in front of me has stopped. I run into them. The whole soup goes all over me. Soup is hot. And now I'm even more upset, even more angry, and so on and so forth. So I'm creating karma. So he says, now let's go back. The soup goes back into the bowl, soup goes back into the pot. You're back at the door. The person lets go of the door slams in your fingers. You go, oh, my fingers are hurt. And so you do whatever the remedy is to stop the pain or the bleeding or whatever, and the story ends right there.
So this is, instead of saying you hurt my fingers, all we are saying is my fingers are hurt. So we are just, yeah.
It's something I've done in the past. So if I believe in the whole cycle of karma, there's something I've done in the past. So I'm in this situation now. So if I don't want to create more or produce more karma, then in that moment, not get angry, not get upset, not get driven by my own emotions. So I tell people, okay, we get angry. So in the beginning, I don't even know I get angry. But so all of a sudden I realize that I get angry. So I realize I get angry. So each time I catch myself faster and faster, so that before I even get angry, so the whole cycle of karma has finished. Not so quickly, but over time. And then we also have to realize there's 3 types of karma. There's karma that's been put away from lifetimes, sanchita karma. Then there is karma that has been allotted for this lifetime, which is prarabdha. Then there is karma that I'm creating as I'm living out this current cycle. So what the question is really is as I live out the karma of this lifetime, whatever it is, I don't want to create more for the future. And they say that whatever there is from the past, it will become like roasted seeds because they'll be burnt in the fire of knowledge. So once I recognize my own self, for I'm not creating more. Now there's only a small percentage of people in the world who are like this. Most of us react as a, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So I have to bring my mind to that place where I don't react.
So I have a lot of discussions with my kids on this topic, and because they're in the financial industry, they sometimes feel, oh, there's that level of materialism that they associate with it. So their question is, how do we make sure that if you're going to stay in this for this long, that you're not building a bad karma, or you're not doing something bad just because you are earning a living in a particular industry, or for that matter, whatever anyone does. It could be any other industry, but
I would say that each one of us has to become conscious. There's a duty each one of us has to perform. For example, person working in the forest has to cut trees down because it's dry, it's old, or it's going to be a hazard. So that's the field of karma, of duty, of action she has taken in this lifetime. And that awareness that we have to have, that I am simply performing my duty and not get attached to, that because I am doing it, it should be done very well and I will be the best. Of course, you should be the best at what you do, but there should be no attachment. I think the biggest problem is the attachment to my work. Like sometimes here people make something, and they're like, don't you think I make the best chai? Don't you think I make the best pasta? Isn't my salad the best?
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
agreed, your salad is the best. But there are other people also who make good salads, but they don't come and tell. And I see that, so many homes that I go to where the people just give me, and it's wonderful what they give. And there is no bragging or there's no show off, there's nothing. And they just watch you and they're happy to see you eat because they know it's good. And there are others who will say, so how do you like it? Do you want it next time when you come? How many should I make? What should I make? And this and that. It's like, hello, just relax. There's only so much. And so how to break out of that ego cycle is where we come back to again.
So for the kids, it's not just, the good side, but even the bad side. When they sometimes see that they were part of a project that caused certain events, maybe people lost jobs, etc. It's still probably the same view to be attached to the outcome. You're just doing the duty.
Correct. Because you cannot be responsible for everybody either in your family or in your workplace or in your society. You can try to be your best and do your best, and I think in being your best and doing your best, automatically you'll do good things. And then there are some things that are bound to happen which I feel we can't avoid because that's how it is. That's how life is.
So the part of the same discussion that I have with the children is if, like you said, the prarabdha karma, what is destined in this lifetime. So if that is already destined, then what is in our control, or maybe what is in the seeker's control?
Along with that, there is free will. Free will to make what I have better. The free will to create an output of what is my karma, what is my destiny. The thing is, unless I get to a state like Bhagavan Nityanand, where I'm just content with myself, I will be doing something. So if I'm doing something, then I might as well do good. For example, simplest example I give people, we say, oh, everything is destined, everything is God. But then you get hungry at a certain point. Then at that time, why do you take that tray of food? Why do you eat that food? At that time, why don't you trust that destiny or that God? That if that food needs to go inside my stomach, I'll simply sit in front of that apple and that apple has to go into. So in that moment, I believe in that I need to take action. And then other times I say, I'm not going to take action because if it is meant to be, it is meant to be, and so on and so forth. So I think that there is prarabdha, there is destiny, but then there is also free will. How I react to the unfolding of that destiny. So as that destiny unfolds, technically I don't want to react. So I want to get to that place. It is.
And I think the other question along the similar lines is, Rupal, sometimes she asks, you get into situations where you're dealing with someone who does not like you, or, they don't really care about you, but you have to keep doing stuff for them for years and years on. So how do you ensure that you continue to do that without maintaining or allowing the anger or, within yourself to come in the way and allow you to stay in peace or be in peace even while you're doing your work?
In my life, what I have decided situation. If there are people in the ashram I don't get along with, or okay, we are just there because it's convenient for both of us to be there for the reasons. So I just tell myself, I have to love myself because I'm not going to actually get love as a product from that person. So if I love myself a lot means a lot, then I can still be nice to them, do what needs to be done, and then realize that this is some karmic connection. Because what I have seen in the ashram, as soon as I think, oh, good, this problem is now solved, but immediately a similar type of a person comes in their place. And I think, oh my God, 5 years I've worked and then I've gotten rid of this person, or that person is gone, and now this other person has come. Similar issues, similar problem. So I think, okay, until I correct myself, God is going to send that thorn again and again and again. I shouldn't say thorn, but thorn, it's an obstacle. So I have to find what is it within myself that draws that energy of that person. Recently, in Magod, a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law didn't get along for 30 plus years. And now the mother-in-law was on her deathbed. She didn't know exactly if she would die, but it was obvious to us. So the son and daughter-in-law came to serve the mother. The mother was living with us. And somewhere in 2 weeks, the mother-in-law said to the daughter-in-law, please forgive me for all the trouble I have given you. And all of a sudden, the daughter-in-law had tears in her eyes. And she said, please forgive me for all the trouble I have given you. And they both hugged each other. So the mother lived for another 2 months. And in those 2 months, everything was good. Of course, the son was the most happiest because all of a sudden, his mother whom he loved, his wife whom he loved, they both had become friends. But I told them, I said, it was a big decision on the part of the two of you to decide that first we'll come and spend time with my mother, who's not keeping well, who might die, or to take this decision. Because normally I'm selfish. Any one of us is selfish. And which is actually a sad part of our society today, that we don't take care of our elders, we don't take care of whoever is sick, because I'm only worried about myself. So when I think of what is it that our Indian scriptures have taught us, and that even over the world, I see that there are good people who have big hearts, big minds. And so, how do I get there is what I have asked myself over the years. So then I think to myself, as in English they say, the cup runneth over. My cup has to overflow. And when my cup overflows, whatever that person does, like to me, I laugh. And it's okay. They tell you you're an idiot, but I know I'm not an idiot. You're stupid. I know I'm not stupid. You're foolish. I am not foolish. Why? Because all of a sudden within myself, I have come to love myself. And not in a funny way or not in a, all of these kinds of
Material.
material or even the new agey way,
Right.
but in a real, genuine way. To feel that. And I think to me, what has given me peace in the last few years of my life is to just, sometimes I come to my room, I close the door, and I just look at all my pictures of Baba, my pictures with Baba of my childhood. And I just think of those good moments and what I felt and how can I, make it alive, create. So I tell people, keep good letters and keep bad letters. So the good letters are for the days you feel bad, and the bad letters are for the day you feel egoistic. So when you feel egoistic, you can read that letter and you go, oh my God, I can be like this. And on days you feel sad, you read the good letter and you go, I am not bad after all, So it's just a little check and balance because you want to be loving, you want to be kind, but you want to be balanced also. So life, to me, at the end of the day, is about balance, striking a balance. And it's a lot of work. It's not easy because once I might think, okay, at least we get along now. So I'm at peace. But then the next person comes along and says, oh my God, it's not the person I want to see. I'm going to be next to you.
Right.
And the car next to you could be a jerk, a person who doesn't even know how to drive or has a lot of rage or whatever. And so you just have to be, open and just accept it.
I think when you mentioned accept, it reminded me once you had said, once in a while, just learn to play the cards God has given you.
Just go along with life. Because we're always struggling, like, so sometimes I think, it's okay. My new mantra, it's okay.
Yeah.
Chalega. Chalana padega.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. The other question, another big question, how can we face difficult situations in our marital relationship, preserving the love and the union and preserving oneself at the same time? How can we discuss the limit, if it is karma to transcend together, or if it is a real problem the other person has and separation is the only way? Or maybe I am wrong and I have something more to learn and heal.
Well, the tradition we come from, separation is not an option. Of course, modern society has made it today that separation has become the first option. So, in my thinking over the years, this situation should never arise in a marriage, in a friendship, in any relationship. And so, from the beginning, if we have good communication, able to express, to be able to say without getting angry, without getting upset. There's a lot of ifs and buts in this, when what I'm saying. But if that openness is there, I think that relationships could be managed. All of this counseling today is exactly that. The therapist is simply telling, I want to get a divorce. So he says, why do you want a divorce? She says, the husband doesn't like the way I squeeze the toothpaste. because he likes to squeeze it from the bottom up, and I just squeeze it anywhere I feel like. So the therapist says, "That's all?" And they say, "Yeah, that's all." He says, "Go buy your own toothpaste." I don't know what it's, $1, $2, whatever, a few rupees in India. Go buy your own toothpaste. He can have his own paste, she can have her own toothpaste. And he says to the wife, "Then with your toothpaste, when he comes home, dance on it. Jump on it. Do whatever you want on it. For one toothpaste, which costs a few dollars or a few rupees, you want to divorce? We want to separate? So basically what he's trying to say is that things can be worked out. And what I tell people is, whoever he is or she is, and whatever their problems is, that character, that person is going to go somewhere else. He or she is going to do the same thing to somebody else. At least now you have understood, you figured it out. Now the question is, how do I fix, how do I correct him or her? Is it counseling? Is it therapy? Is it kids? What is it? And therefore, I believe friends, colleagues, society, we all need to help each other. But again, our society today has become selfish. It's about me and me being happy. And I really, really pray, because it's one of the things I think of a lot, especially in situations with children, abuse, physical or all other kinds of abuse. How can we do something so that that doesn't occur? So one of the things I have realized is food plays an important part, which is not discussed. There's so much meat, and that meat of how that animal is killed, and that fear that animal has, and that comes into the human being, then that human being displays it in the relationship. So in a marital or any other relationship, what is important is conversation. And it's not necessarily that we'll be able to answer it in one conversation. So I tell people, conversation should never have a period or a full stop. There should always be a comma, so that we can continue it again. Not always with the same person and not always in the same manner or way, but that doesn't need to end. Like satsang, for example. I think even though today we will say, okay, at some point, good, Jai Gurudev, Sadhguru Maharaj ki Jai, and we come to the conclusion of this satsang, but we know that next Sunday or next festival or next time we meet, there will be satsang again. And the opportunity to listen, to hear, to think, to ask exists again. So I think what is important in a marital relationship, one, is job description, job definition, I guess. Who does what? Who will cook today? Who will clean today? Who will do the laundry today? Who will take the trash out? Okay, you might have it fixed, which is well and good. And if it's fixed, then you need to make sure you do all those things. If it's on a rotational basis, whether it's weekly or daily or monthly or whatever, because I think what you want to take out is the rote. That you get up and you have to do the same thing. So in the ashram, I always try that the schedule changes a little bit, the meal changes a little bit, or some kind of variation, so it becomes exciting. So it's the same thing, but like we can have chickpeas as hummus, we can have chickpea as salad, we can have chickpea as soup, we can have chickpea as chole. I don't know what other. I'm sure there's many other forms of chickpea, but it's chickpea. Besan, I think, is chickpea. Some form of chickpea. So that's how it should be with life. Otherwise, what happens? We become so like it only has to be like this. It only can be done like this. And so when we become regimented like that, then it takes the joy of life away. Right. So I tell people, even chai. Sometimes I like it with more milk. Sometimes I like it with less milk. Sometimes I like it with more water. Sometimes I like it with ginger. Sometimes I like it with cardamom. Sometimes I like it with lemongrass, lily chai. Or sometimes I like it a little bit stronger. Sometimes I like it a little bit sweeter. So it depends on so many factors. When I want to dunk, I want a little bit sweeter. But if I'm going to have something sweet, then I have to realize how that's sweet and how is my chai going to work. If I'm having something salty, then my chai has to be according. So whoever the cook is and whoever you are, all of this needs to be worked out. So I think that's how it's a relationship. Something is sweet, something is sour, something is I don't know, whatever the other flavors are, dry, and so let's change it up.
Yeah.
And I think let's make it fun.
Okay. Here's another question from our community. How can we help ourselves to identify some scars? Those impressions that do not help us in our life so that we do not identify with them, being aware that they disturb us, to heal and transcend them, and also not to hurt anybody.
What I have realized is I have to first study myself, which is what Swadhyaya is. So that is not just daily chanting of Guru Gita or Vishnu Sahasranam or whatever the text is. Swa means self, Adhyaya means chapter. So what is my chapter today? What is my subject today? Am I happy? Am I miserable? Am I suffering? Am I torturing? What am I actually doing? And of course, each one of us thinks I am perfect. Nothing is wrong with me. It's you. It's the other. And so that's where the problem begins. So if I am willing to realize that, I have an issue. Or I always react in this particular way or in this particular manner. So bring about a change. Some scholars are there. They are impressions from lifetimes that have been stored in there. They are going to come up. Now, just like we talked about karma, I don't need to react. It's like, I need to just let go. So that's really the challenge. So I tell people, have conversations with different people, go to sometimes sit and listen to what is going on around you, not eavesdropping as such, but people who are having loud conversations in a coffee shop, in a restaurant, they don't mind if somebody else is listening. That's why they are speaking loudly. If it was a private conversation, they would be having it in a private place, or softly. But the fact that they are speaking loudly, like we are speaking to each other, which means the whole restaurant can hear what I am saying, that means they are okay with it, that somebody came into the bank last month, and I was sitting with the manager, and the lady's loud saying, I need to look in my safe deposit box to see how much money I have in my box and what else I have. I'm like, whoa, this is like a big announcement to the whole bank of what is in my safe deposit box. So this is a samskara. Samskara is outspoken, is out loud, it's there. And so the way I look at it, each one of us has a peculiarity, vichitrata. Each one of us has a speciality, a visheshata.
Right.
It's just how it is. And I think both are okay. And I think it needs to be there. Like we have an apple and we have a pear. They are very different types of fruit. And so some people may like the tartness of the apple or the crispness of an apple.
Yeah.
Or some may like the softness or the gentleness of the pear, especially a ripe pear. So they are different. And that is the unique speciality of the apple and the pear. And of course, there is the mix of the apple and the pear, which also has its own taste. So in the same way, each one of us has humans have the crisp side and the soft side, And so both are necessary. But I tell people that the peculiar should never become a quality that hurts anybody. Your vichitrata, your peculiarity, should also be enjoyable, should also be fun, should be, should be why I come to you, to visit you, or to be with you, or to sit with you, because it's like, okay. So I think more than identifying more with the samskara, I think it's recognize that I have this samskara. And then how do I become free of this cycle? Like some people always, no matter what, will end up with no money in their pockets. And some people will have plenty. So I think it is actually the mental attitude of the person. And some people, no matter how much, they'll always say, oh, I don't have enough. It's never enough. And some people will have a lot and they still will say it's not enough. So all this is samskara. So satsang to me is the changes and so study the scriptures of the great sages, read their words, study the Bhagavad Gita, study others, and then I tell people, from that, take out something, because you're not going to read the whole book every day, but take out something and either write it with your own hand or type it and make a little cutout. And I've seen it at homes around the world. People have a sutra, people have a verse, people have something or the other stuck either on their bathroom mirror or in their room or on the fridge or in their office. And like very early, 20, 30 years ago, when I first saw it for the first time, I said, what is this? They said, oh, this is the teaching I like. And then sometime when I visit other times, something else. So I said, what is this? This is the teaching that I like currently. It's not that I don't like that, but I, like try to become like that. So I think in order to change my samskara, my behavior, my impression, I need to create situations like that. So if, for example, if there's a particular person I don't like, a particular situation I don't like, I realize something within me that needs to change. My change within myself. And I think once I do that, I'm healed, I'm uplifting, and because I'm uplifted, automatically I'll uplift the other. And that's what I think a great sage, a guru, these people do. Why we go to be with them? Because they are enjoying their own company. And because they are enjoying their own company, in that vibration, we also enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, because usually when you just said that, it reminded me when we come across someone and we say, "Oh, I don't like him," or he has this behavior and all. We are only focused on the negative of that person. We never step back and say, "Am I doing something to invoke that, or is there something I can do to change?" And here you just said, if you are enjoying your own company and accept things the way they are, uh, things
So
automatically start changing.
Not easy is what I mean. All this what I say, I tell people, it's over years of thinking, satsang, speaking, individual conversations with people, digesting them in my own head, not in my stomach, but digesting them in my own head and thinking to myself, is this possible? Can I do this? And then next time seeing a shift in myself, seeing a shift in the other with whom I've had the conversation and feeling good, both of us, that, hey, look, we, crossed that, whatever it was, or we went past that, Like I tell people, look, we don't have the best of friends with every single individual in the world. It's not going to happen. But at least we can get along,
Yeah.
Or when you know that you've reached the limit, you say, okay, I think for today, I think It's like
Enough for the day.
enough for the day. Yes.
Yep. No, that's true. Another question. Modern culture is not a good base or support for spiritual life, even more so in the Western world. Our education, customs, behaviors, our organization, and our minds seem to be farther and farther from a life according to dharma, or a life like which we live if we visit ashram. How can we create a good life for us in the middle of all this according to the Guru's teachings?
Baba Muktananda used to say, take the ashram with you. So whatever it is that you like in the ashram, I think your home, your workplace, your friends, all of that has to reflect that vibration. The world is the world. And I think duality, conflict, separation, competition, all of this existed, exists, and will continue to exist. So to myself, I say, if we can come to a peaceful place, at least more of us than not, then at least we can all breathe, in that. But if all of us are, like Baba Muktananda used to tell a story of a sadhu and a dhobi. The sadhu was sitting by the riverbank meditating. The dhobi has come to the washerman with his laundry to the river to wash. So at some point he wants that take a nap because he's tired. So he brings his donkey, leaves it with the sadhu and says, watch him. So then when the dhobi wakes up, the donkey is missing. So he goes to the sadhu and he says, where's my donkey? And the sadhu is like, what donkey? Because the sadhu had never even registered that the washerman is asking him to look after the donkey. So the washerman thinks that the sadhu has, hidden or stolen or whatever his donkey. So he beats the sadhu up. When he beats the sadhu up, the Baba laughs and says, the dhobi, because he washed the clothes with good muscles, the sadhu, poor guy sitting, had no muscles, had no strength. So the dhobi was able to beat him up. And the sadhu is praying to the God, and in the meanwhile, he's also fighting the washerman. And so when it's all done, the donkey comes, and the washerman takes the donkey, puts his load of laundry, and he goes away. And the sadhu's there, lying all beaten up, and the Lord appears in front of him. He says, what happened? Why didn't you come when I needed you? I wanted you to protect me from that washerman. He was beating me up. The Lord says, I came. But I couldn't tell the difference between who was the washerman and who was the sadhu. Both were fighting. So Baba would laugh and say, if we are a disciple, if we are a seeker, if we are what we think of ourselves as, so when we go into the world, be that peaceful person. Don't, become part of the craziness of the world. You be that Shakti-filled, positive energy-filled, vibrant individual. And everybody will be drawn to you. Of course, we think we are drawn to the person, but we are really drawn to is that Shakti, is that energy of the person. So our modern day society is what it is. I don't think we can do much about it. But we can become an oasis of peace, of love in that, part of society. It's similar to what I said earlier. Our home, our place, whatever we have, could be that kind of a place where people could come for a cup of tea, a cookie, a library, whether it's friends or whatever. And like, for example, in the ashram, we don't have television because I think that's just noise. There's just, the latest news that's being repeated again and again and again and again. And then we're filling our mind with that. Like all through COVID, everybody was worried. Who's dying? Who's dying? Who's dying? So whenever people ask me today, how was COVID? I say, I am alive. And they look at me, what? I said, well, what happened with COVID? People got sick and people died. I said, one, we didn't get sick, and if we got sick, we got very little fever and nothing really major like what we heard from people, because we never allowed the mind to go there. We were very fortunate that our doctors were very good. They could get care of us. We had Ayurvedic medicines, we had good food, and certain foods were eliminated, certain things were done so that we could maintain ourselves. So I think in this modern day society, think of what you don't need. Think of what you can eliminate in your life and live your life like you are living in the ashram. You can still live a simple life, you can live a dharmic life, you can live a good life, you can live a pure life. And there you are.
Well, that's great, Guruji. Thank you for your time. I'm hopeful that folks will get to hear the answers and they'll imbibe some of the teachings and suggestions and different options you have provided, and they'll get to that place of peace within. So, thank you. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Sadhgurunath Maharaj ki Jai.
Danya Danya ho Pradakshina Satguru Raya Chizale Twara Suravara Vimana Uttara Yachi Danya Danya ho Pradakshina Satguru Raya Chizale Twara Suravara Vimana Uttara Yachi Paro Pari Apar Jaya Punya Charashi Paro Paro Pari Apar Jaya Punya Charashi Paro Savai Tirte Gadali Amari Karunika Shri Danya Danya Pradakshina Sadguru Raya Chizale Vara Suravara Vimana Uttara Yachi Danya Danya Mridanga Thala Gola Bhakta Bhavarte Gati Mridanga Thala Mridanga Thala Gola Bhakta Bhavarte Gati Mridanga Nama Sankirtane Brahmalande Nachati Danya Danya Pradakshina Sadguru Raya Chizal स्वर सुरवर विमान उतरायाची कोटि ब्रह्म हत्या हरिति कारिता दंडवता कोटि कोटि ब्रह्म हत्या हरिति कारिता दंडवता लोटांगन गालिता मोक्षलोले पाया तन्या धन्या प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाची झाल वर सुरवर विमान उतरायाची गुरु भजनाचा महिमा नकले आगमाय निगमासी गुरु भजना गुरु भजनाचा महिमा नकले आगमाय निगमासी गुरु भजना अनुभव छे जानत जय गुरु परिचय राय भासी धन्य धन्य प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरु रायाची झाल वर सुरवर विमान उतरायाची प्रदक्षिणा करणी देह भावे वाहिला प्रदक्षिणा प्रदक्षिणा करणी देह भावे वाहिला श्रीरंग मग विठ्ठल पुढे उभा राहिला धन्य धन्य प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरु रायाची झाल वर सुरवर धन्य धन्य प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरु रायाची झाल वर सुरवर विमान उतरायाची धन्य धन्य प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरु रायाची ज्योत से ज्योत मेरा अंतर मेरा में ठाव सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाव हे योगेश्वर है ज्ञानेश्वर है योगेश्वर सर्वेश्वर है परमेश्वर है सर्वेश्वर है परमेश्वर निज कृपा बरसाव सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाव मेरा अंतर मेरा में ठाव सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगाव हम बालक तेरे द्वार पे आए हम बालक तेरे द्वार पे आए, मंगल दरस दिखावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, मेरा अंतर तिमिरा मिटावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, शीश या करें तेरी आरती, शीश झुकाया करें तेरी आरती, प्रेम सुरा बरसावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, मेरा अंतर तिमिरा मिटावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, अंतर में युग युग से सोए, अंतर में युग युग से सोए, चित्त शक्ति को जगावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत ज्योत जगावो, मेरा अंतर तिमिरा मिटावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, साची ज्योत जगे हृदय में, साची ज्योत जगे हृदय में, सो अमनार जगावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, मेरा अंतर तिमिरा मिटावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, जीवन मुक्तानंद विनाशी, जीवन मुक्तानाशी, चरणन शरण लगावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, मेरा अंतर तिमिरा मिटावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, मेरा अंतर तिमिरा मिटावो, सद्गुरु ज्योत से ज्योत जगावो, त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणां त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव, दूर करो दुःख दार सबा, दया करो भगवान, मना मंदिर में उज्ज्वल हो तेरा निर्मल ज्ञान, जिस घर में हो आ करे, ज्योतानंत जगाए, चाहन भक्त कीर्तन करे, वाहे प्रेम दरिया, चाहन हरि शरण आपने, बेमत करुण्यानार, नमस्कार की बेमत करुण, जोड़न में दोनों Namaskar ki Bimta karun Jordan mein dono hath Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai.
Two announcements before we retire from here. The first one is the retreat course that will take place in June. It's called Understanding the Siddha Path Retreat Course. And it will be taught by 4 senior teachers who have spent time with Baba and also have been doing this for between 40 and 50 years. So when I heard that Ashit has met Gurudev for over 50 years, I thought several of us are already counting and have our experiences on this earth. Scary. So they have been hands-on, these teachers, there are 4 teachers, and it's not that they're specialized in something, but they know a little more about their preferences. However, of all the fields of yoga, they know a lot. So if there's 4 types of yoga, they know it. If we want to believe the other philosophy that says there's 8 types of yoga, they know it. And they will be teaching us, for example, Hatha Yoga, Shaivism, Vedanta, Bhakti or devotion, mantra, meditation, because this was his idea. So I was thinking that the same like when we come to an intensive and we can remind ourselves of everything that we learned, experienced, or heard, there is something that makes the experience linger, and it is a word or a concept that we will see with the Yoga Sutra, but no, it's like a 3rd chapter. It's called Vyutana. And Vyutana, what it means is like an electric stove. This course, with this retreat course, and also with all the intensive, and actually all the programs, we can do this practice to maintain the heat, to maintain the warmth. There are even some pans that you cover them and keep the food warm for 8 hours. So I had this image where Gurudev was talking about something in this interview. It doesn't mean that we're going to spend 16 days here only with these teachers and with the Guru. It's something we can take there for life. So very important is in June 11 to 26, 16 days of bliss and learning and experience. And this is what continues really the meditation revolution that Baba started, fresh and alive as the first day 50 years after. And also these videos that we like so much, they stay on YouTube. So make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's Spanish channel and English channel. And then you can enjoy Thursday morning Guru Gita, Saturday evening Kirtan, and of course Sunday Satsang. And everything else, Navaratra, Pujas, everything is at your fingertips. So therefore, now we invite you to come up for darshan, and we'll see you very soon. After that, lunch prasad. Always a pleasure to get together with like-minded people that we love the same, have the same goal in mind. Sadhgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.